Okay, we're live. What is that awful, horrible noise? I'll tell you, it's the worst song in the history of everything. It's Age of Ads by Sufjan Stevens.
So I kind of want to hide when I hear so that, like, you want to take
horrified.
cover.
This is the worst start to this show ever. Alexa, stop!
Oh man, that feels good.
And that was a demo of whatever that contraption is that Amazon's selling.
It's the Echo.
The Echo.
The Echo. We should. You should grab it and show the audience.
We can't say Echo. We had to say Alexa. Which does that make a lot of sense? Bezos, really? Okay, check this out. The only two things that this contraption is good for is bashing people in the head with it because it weighs about 17 pounds.
It's pretty solid.
Shooting as a cannon. And also, Alexa, tell us a joke.
This is gonna be good.
What is black and white and red all over? A badger at a tomato fight.
That's it. That and playing really awful
That was
music.
pretty painful.
I asked her to play the Beatles the other day. She didn't understand.
But
then when you ask her to play Age of Ads, which is easily the worst song I've ever heard in my life, she's like, oh yeah, got it for you.
I think it's because she doesn't like your voice. Because when we were trying it before the show started, it was responding.
I'll tell you who she really likes, Jessie. And anyone that she likes is no good because she's no good.
So awesome. Welcome to the Llama Commerce Show.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we were doing the Llama Commerce Show. Hi, everybody.
We did have some technical issues leading up to this.
It was awful,
which
is why I'm in a bad mood right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think you'll come around, though, because our topic, I think, today is going to really pull you in. And
we played appropriate music, actually.
We did play appropriate music.
But before and this is all, we're just wrapping up the mayhem because we're about to like simplify everything and make order out of it. So let's start with who we are.
So I'm Brett Curry, lead strategist here at Classy Llama.
And I can't remember who I am because I just listened to Age of Ads by Sufjan Stevens, whatever his name is.
Stevens.
I think my name is Kurt Theobald. If I remember correctly, I'm the CEO of Classy Llama. And as always, we're here to demystify e-commerce into digestible, actionable bites. We have our special guest, as always. I can't remember his name either.
One-arm table.
Really, I've been thrown off. That song just puts you into a weird place. Yeah, exactly. Gets into your skin. So anyway, we'll hand this out to whoever delivers the most value at the end of the show. You may have noticed we have no other guests today because Brett and I feel like we haven't been getting enough FaceTime on the show, and our guests are stealing all of
the glory, all the spotlight.
It's just
you got to reclaim.
It's not working for us. So it's in our contract.
We talked to our agents, and this is what they suggested.
They negotiated with Classy Llama, and we got more time.
Yes,
which I think is
I feel really good about it.
Yeah,
I feel like this is going to be epic.
So what are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about how to manage chaos inside of e-commerce, and really this will go for all businesses, any entrepreneurial venture, but how to manage and deal with chaos. And so we cleverly, I think, titled the show Herding Llamas.
That's hilarious.
It's great, isn't it? It's awesome. Yeah, we'll talk about herding cats. I say that a lot about my kids, trying to get kids to do something like herding cats. And sometimes running a business is like herding llamas. It's not easy to herd llamas. It's not easy. I've never tried.
Actually, you did. Last show, you tried to get Phil to leave, and he wouldn't.
Yeah.
That was the worst, everybody. I just wanted to apologize. I let Phil, I only met Phil like once. I trusted him right off the bat.
Yeah.
And he was the worst.
He
was just a fame junkie. He just wanted to come on and be stupid.
I tried to come up with something clever to make his exit easy.
He's like, hey, don't you have something to do? He didn't take, actually, he knew I think he knew. I watched the show later.
He knew what I was up to.
I think he knew, and he was just like, forget you, Brett.
He was onto it.
Anyway, we're not inviting him back. If he makes it back on the show, I'd be surprised.
Okay, good.
Anyway.
Oh man, I feel good. About that.
Truth be told, what we're going to be talking about is really generically relevant to business in general, though. We talk to a lot of people in the e-commerce space, and so we focus on that. But we're talking about chaos in business, and there's frequently a space or a percentage of your business that's in chaos at any given moment. And so we wanted to talk about how you actually address that and keep your sanity in the process.
Yeah, which is really interesting. I was reading a Seth Godin book this morning, What to Do When It's Your Turn. Pretty good book. Collection of a lot of different wisdom, pieces of wisdom from Seth Godin. And so he's talking about this idea of tension and this tension that's created. Oh, look at that!
See, it's on my desk.
Ask and you shall receive.
See, look at that. Actually, it's kind of in bad. See.
Yeah, there you go.
The woman may not make sense until you read.
She was a suffragette.
Yes.
fought for women's voting rights. And so we talked about this idea of tension. So when you start with an idea, this new business process or whatever, and you're taking a risk with that new thing, there's going to be tension and uncertainty between that and when you know it's going to succeed, right? And so you have to embrace that tension. A lot of times we want to avoid it or skirt around it or try not to be in that moment, but you got to embrace the tension.
Absolutely. I'm actually, the funny thing is, I'm in the middle of that right now with Nucleus Commerce.
Yeah.
Which I got a lot of belief in what we're doing, but the truth is you were still in that ramp up phase where we're bringing what we have to the market and making the value presentation and talking to clients and tweaking that chemistry and, getting it right. And
got all kinds of good feedback from the people in the space and merchants and vendors, but you're still in that beginning phase. And I think it's human nature to want to avoid that.
Yeah, you want to just know.
Tension.
You just want to know everything's going to work out. It's going to be amazing, and this is going to blow up. But you have to live in that space between that point that you're after and the reality of where you're at.
Right, which I think it's wise to obviously do testing and try to figure out, are we likely headed in the right direction? But ultimately, there's going to be some uncertainty, and you have to be okay in that moment. You have to be okay with that tension.
When was the last time you were in that position, Brett?
Oh man, that is a really good question. Jeez, for part of it is when we made the decision several years ago to grow out of kind of our comfort zone of working with smaller businesses and local businesses. And this was 2010-ish, where we built up rapport. We knew a lot of people in the local space. But we decided, what, we can take this to bigger companies and companies in other places. But that took some major shifts in the way we approach things. And so it was a little bit uncomfortable for a while. Yeah, I remember going home several nights in a row and telling my wife, I'm exhausted because everything I did today I've never done before.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I just said everything is new, and it was exhausting.
And when everything is new that you're doing, you don't know if it's actually going to work. It's gonna, you're like, I don't know whether I was effective today or not.
Yeah.
And I expect that there's a lot of people that can relate to us out there that
it's encouragement in some way.
And I think it actually segues really nicely into our second piece, because what I think happens a lot of times is people that are in that place of in that tension, and they're trying to defend against the tension, end up trying to do a bunch of things because they figure if they just do a bunch of things, one of them will hit.
It's diversify.
Right. It's like if I have 12 dice, I got a better chance of getting snake eyes or whatever you try to get with dice.
Yeah.
And the reality is, the counterintuitive reality is that you actually need to focus.
Yes.
You got to pare back and focus, which is the second point of how do you actually live in a state of chaos.
How do you live in chaos? There's always going to be chaos, but you have to focus. I remember hearing Warren Buffett say that diversification is not that necessary when you know what you're doing. And that maybe doesn't necessarily apply in this situation.
Which may be why people are like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I diversify. That's why I'm doing
it. Got to diversify, exactly. But this idea of focus, and I remember hearing a guy talking about one time, this need for us to jump around from thing to thing. And so if we get stuck on a business problem, we want to open Facebook, or we want to check the news, or we want to do whatever. And there's like a dopamine hit, right? This chemical release when you jump to a new thing. And so sometimes you hide behind that. Sometimes you want to hide by jumping to the next thing, or you want to feel productive. And so you're jumping from new idea to new idea.
Is there really a dopamine hit when you jump?
That's what I've heard.
Really?
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, because when I was just in my early days of entrepreneurship, I kept jumping from thing to thing because it made me feel good.
You get a rush. You get that juice.
I was on drugs and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Oh my
You needed rehab.
Yeah. No, but in the early days of Classy Llama, this focus thing really played out because thanks to the wisdom of Eric Hansen in those early days, who co-founded Classy Llama, we focused on Magento.
Yeah.
And before that, it was like, we're a web development agency, and we knew
build on anything.
And Eric and I talked. We knew, early on that we didn't want to be all things to all people. That there was value in that.
Yeah.
But the difference was when we did choose to focus. That was an inflection point for us. Once we started focusing on that and became known for it, that's been really key to our success.
Right.
And the truth is, to be able to do anything like really huge that is already being done a lot, you got to have a ton of money or all the right connections or something. Usually, if you're going into an established segment of the market, You got to choose that niche. Like what's going to make us famous in a really niche way? Brings to mind the interview we did with, oh man, I'm so bad with names, but he sells the tires and wheels online.
Yeah.
And he focused on that customer service component and following up with them. Tyler, that's right. Making sure that they were taken care of and that whatever they bought actually worked. That was his differentiator. That was his niche. He focused on that, and it's really worked for him.
It's worked phenomenally well. And so this idea of what do we not do? Answering that question is almost as important as deciding what are we going to do. A quote that I love, and there's more that goes.
Are you going to think the quote that I'm thinking of? But go ahead. I've got a quote too.
Maybe I don't know.
Oh, this is exciting.
Probably not. But so Dan Kennedy, marketing guy that I like to read, and
Never heard of him.
He does some offline online stuff, but he talks about success in a messy kitchen, and he takes this idea of being an entrepreneur and compares it to running a kitchen, right? So you're in your favorite restaurant, in the actual dining room, it may be peaceful and people are enjoying a nice meal, and you get the atmosphere that's nice, the mood that's set, the waiters and waitresses are taking good care of people. But in the back, where all the food is being prepared, it could be chaos. It's messy, right? You can't stop to clean up every little thing as you're working on what you're doing. And so the focus in that point is, what am I going to do to make sure these dishes are prepared correctly and accurately and up to our level of standards? I can't start cooking something and then go clean over here and then go do this over here and then go run. You have to focus on what you're doing.
I actually love that analogy because it transcends the whole fake it till you make it mentality, which I hear a lot of people touting. They're like, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I remember faking it till I made it. It was awful and it was not the right course. I just ended up being a faker.
Yeah.
And what I hear from Dan Kennedy, never heard of him. Dan, if you're watching, I just think you're brilliant on this particular point. You may be stupid in the rest of your areas, but this thing that you said was definitely good. At least that.
Love that compliment.
But it's okay. He's probably not watching.
No,
he sounds famous.
He's
nobody famous who watched this. But anyway, what I love about it is it's saying, don't expose your customers, don't expose the end users to the mess that is your business. Make sure that it's clean from that point out, from the point of delivery. Right. And I think that's great because you're not faking it, you're just encapsulating the chaos that is naturally part of an early business.
Right.
And you're taking responsibility for that.
Totally. I just got a new lawnmower recently, right? So we moved to a place that have some acreage, and I got a zero-turn mower, which is kind of fun. I was excited about that mower. I remember the very first time I mowed with that mower, though. Do you know what happened to it? It got dirty. It got dirty. So I love the mower. Like
something a little bit more.
Nothing dramatic, but it got dirty.
Strike your hand and it fell off.
Nothing dramatic, but it got dirty, and I was like, oh, the mower's dirty. But that's business. I mean, that's what happens if you're going to actually do something. Then it's going to be a little bit messy and a little bit dirty, and that's okay.
Well, I think one of our actionable bites has to be, according to the wisdom of Dan Kennedy, don't make your customers and your end users responsible for the chaos in your business.
Yeah, I love it.
That's a bumper sticker or something tweetable. Are you going to tweet that, Jesse?
That'd be a pretty long bumper sticker.
Jesse nodded. He's definitely going to tweet that up.
But I love that, yeah. Protect the customers from the chaos that's there. They know it's there. They know the kitchen is not necessarily orderly.
As long as they don't have to deal with it, they're okay.
As long as the food's good, man, they're happy. So this idea of focus, what should you be focusing on? What are you going to be best at? We've talked about that before on the show. What are you going to be really, really good at? And there's also something freeing about focus.
I agree. It simplifies your life. Now, the downside is you always have that nagging fear, which is another key thing.
Yes.
A nagging fear that what you focus on isn't the right thing. And all I can say is you just got to be very careful about what you are choosing to focus on. And I say this time and time again on the show and to people. I mean, I think people actually get tired of listening to me. But I say you got to
probably on several levels. But go ahead.
What? I don't remember what I was going to say. Take very few shots and take them really well.
Take good shots.
And this is one of the key things that I screwed up early on in my entrepreneurial travels is I would take a shot and I wouldn't finish.
Yeah.
You got to follow through all the way through and you got to have faith in that. Again, we're going back to the first one. You got to have faith in that in-between point where you're not sure it's going to work.
Right. Better
to follow through and see it all the way through than to cut it off short.
I think sometimes the reason we cut things off short or stop prematurely is because of fear. We're afraid that if we take it all the way to completion, it's not going to work, and then we're going to look bad, and it's going to be embarrassing. So it's easier if we just stop early. If we stop soon enough, then we can protect ourselves from that perceived failure, right? So I think fear also plays a part in that and can prevent us from finishing something.
And actually, along with that, now I'm going to contradict myself and say, if you can be in a position that is completely absent of fear, if you can completely conquer fear, then you can make decisions to actually cut initiatives that you've decided to focus on early, and it's right.
It's right, because you're not.
Sorry, everybody, to be
emotionally
confusing, but it's actually true. Sometimes it is the best thing to cut something short that you just know is not going in the right direction, but you're not doing it because you're afraid. You're doing it because you're running it. It's clearly not firing on the cylinders you expected it would, and to that end, I think you just have to have good counsel around you to help make sure you're not stopping for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Did you have some kind of a think tank or a mastermind or group of friends or advisors you can talk to and bounce ideas off of? That's huge and critical. In fact, we did that at one time.
Yeah, that's
Some
true.
local entrepreneurs. It was really cool.
Got together, peer advisory group. That was really, really good for everybody.
Yeah. We were honest, and we told each other when ideas were bad.
If you guys want more information about that, actually, I still have the whole structure for that advisory board meeting. So if you wanted to set up your own peer, advisory board where you get together and you're each other's advisory board, basically, I'd be happy to share more information on that.
So I actually missed that a little bit. I mean, I think it kind of ran its course in our situation, but it was a ton of fun. Yeah. And so this idea of conquering fear, and I think one of the major keys to that is realizing that it's okay if this doesn't work, right? Really, I think that applies to almost everything in life. It's okay if this little piece does not work. I remember when I was in outside sales. So I was in college, about to graduate, and I was in outside sales, strictly commission-only sales, right? And I read this piece where this guy said, the way you conquer the fear of rejection is you just swim in it. Like you just get as much rejection as you, and then you're like
I've heard it. Like go out,
this is okay.
Go out and try to get some no's. Like try to get some people to reject you, and as long as you're like going out there and owning it, then you're okay.
I think then you realize it's all right. I remember hearing athletes talk about, I was nervous in the game until I took the first hit, until I got that first, and then I was fine, and then I was good.
Until you tasted blood in your mouth. Exactly. Blood. No, another way that I've heard it said is make peace with death. Like whatever the worst case scenario is, make peace with it. Like for me, that was early on. That was complete financial destruction.
Right.
And I made peace with it, and then I experienced it. I went bankrupt when I was like 21 or something like that.
Sorry, I'm laughing about
but
that.
how dare you?
It's funny how you transition there. Anyway, I made peace with it, and then I experienced it.
Yeah, well, sorry, but you got to make peace with death, and then you might die.
That's true.
That's the truth.
It's totally true.
If you make peace with it, though, then it's no longer bugging you. It's just there, and you know that it's a possibility, and so be it. Like, let's do this thing. Yeah,
and I think, and we're getting off on some interesting areas, but I think this all applies. I was reading the other day that something like 50% of our happiness is attached to anticipating things, and then also the memory of things. So
that's just deep.
Yeah,
that's so deep. I don't understand what you're saying.
I don't either. No, but this whole concept where I think we want to get to a place where we know that it's successful, right? But to enjoy that part of the middle, going back to the first thing again, to a certain degree, that can help with fear as well. That in this part, when not everything makes sense, it's kind of beautiful, and it can be interesting, and it can be invigorating, and it can be good.
You know what I say? I say to myself, I never arrive. I'm always in training.
Yeah.
And if I'm always in training, then I just have to enjoy the training that I'm in. And there may be some peaks and whatever else, and I can enjoy them for a moment maybe, but then I'm back into training. It's kind of like I heard Tiger Woods say something about forget the shot you made, for better or worse. Like you got 6 steps to enjoy or hate the shot you just made, and then you leave it behind you or something like that. And that might be really bad advice.
You might want to remind him of that.
But
you might want to remind him of that now. He's struggling. Just a little bit.
I heard.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But that concept was good.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, is it any good? Like, should you completely forget things? Or I have no idea. But it sounds really good, and that's why I said it.
I think,
Brett's trying to take me seriously right now. I'm trying to make a joke, and then he doesn't laugh, and so all of a sudden everyone's like, "I think Kurt is really just an idiot." So thanks, Brett.
You're welcome. Sorry about that, but I do think that idea is powerful though, where the quarterback with a short memory of failures. I think remembering them so you learn from them, but also not.
Short memory of failures and successes.
Correct.
Like you just get past it, and you can't live in that past success. You got to keep going.
Because you don't want to feel like you've arrived. If you feel like you've arrived, then you become defensive and fearful and
or you
overly
become a
conservative.
35-year-old man that just wants to be back in high school when he scored that winning touchdown.
Right.
You get stuck.
Okay, so what if I think about that from time to time?
Oh my
I think
gosh. I'm giving therapy to Brett. That's what's happening here.
I didn't play much football in high school. Anyway, so conquering fear, that's a big part of this. And then finally, this was your suggestion. I love it. I think it's so
I brought
powerful.
This one up. I just want everyone to know this was my contribution to the outline.
Actually, this whole topic was your contribution.
Actually, what happened, and this is a funny story. Brett says, hey, what should we talk about on the show today? And I said, mayhem. And then he texted me back. He's like, oh, you mean like we should talk about how to create order out of chaos and mayhem. That's a true story.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what we're talking about. What we're talking about. So yeah, of course I owned it then. But anyway, I said, one thing I think is really important. I was just interviewed by someone recently, and I brought up that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that are working in just professionals in general, get into a place where they think they got to work, 60 plus hours a week in order to be successful. Like that's part of the.
So they're wearing a badge, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's part of the identity of especially of entrepreneurs, but even professionals in general. Like you want to be successful, you got to work for it. I know there's people that say like if you're not working 19 hours a day, then you're not a real entrepreneur, and I think that's hilariously depressing. Because what about the rest of their life? So I guess one of the things that's really important is, and this actually comes back to fear. It comes back to that whole being uncomfortable and that tension and not knowing what's coming. If you can be in a space of peace, then you can stop pressing so hard and stop feeling like you got to control everything around you in order to make it happen. Create a boundary, commit a certain number of resources that doesn't throw the rest of your life completely out of balance and neglect everyone else that you love in your life. And then do your best with that space. And what I found in my life, because I've honestly, my whole entrepreneurial career, I've kept it in the bounds of 40 to 50 hours a week with certain times of spike, like very short periods of time, like 1 week at a time kind of thing.
Exactly.
And in doing so, what it does is it makes you play smarter. Not that I play smarter, but I'm just saying, like it forces you to try.
It forces you to take
You got
shots.
to try at least. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it forces you to reduce the number of shots. It does all the things you actually should be doing. In how you think about your business is I can only take so many shots with the time that I have here, with the resources I have, so I got to take them really well. So establish those quality boundaries because it will actually counterintuitively aid you in being more successful and more effective. And you can look at, there's so many statistics and surveys and whatever else, studies out there that are done around the loss of productivity whenever you
I think it's such sound advice, but with the caveat of occasionally you have these bursts. Occasionally you get these bursts. It's a huge project or something, you make an exception. But I remember I listened to a podcast that I've been enjoying lately, a Tim Ferriss podcast, which I haven't. He's written several best-selling books. I actually have not read them. But his podcast, he deconstructs top performers. It's kind of interesting. So I heard this interview with Noah Kagan, who is like employee number 30 from Facebook, and now he's doing his own thing. But he talked about how he does not have a cell phone or his phone in his room. So when he goes into his room, he reads just before bed, and then as he wakes up in the morning, he reads and journals and thinks and does something meaningful without the phone, without the device. And so I've really taken that to heart. And I use my phone actually as my clock, but I've tried for like a 30-minute window. Don't touch the phone. Don't touch electronics. And kind of setting those boundaries that way, because I think it allows you to think deeper and to come up with better solutions. You're just more grounded. It's really valuable. So I think creating those boundaries, it can't be overemphasized.
I think that actually is probably true, that most of my key breakthrough ideas and visions have come either waking up out of a dead sleep or in the wee hours of the morning when I'm just waking up or when I'm going to sleep. And I have the space to be quiet. And I'm actually reading a book about the value of like solitude and silence. And
very powerful.
I'm reading about it after I've actually experienced the benefits of it. I'm like, maybe if I was more proactive in creating that space, that'd be better. So I think this might actually be the very best takeaway that anyone could take from this whole concept, or this whole topic on chaos, is in the midst of chaos, can you find solitude and silence and put yourself internally as well?
Exactly. Yeah,
it's not just about, you can't just shut out the noise, but the
quiet.
internal noise as well. That discipline is super valuable in being able to face chaos effectively.
And that's where breakthroughs come. And that's where you can have the confidence to face things that are overwhelming and chaotic.
I think the only more important thing that I could bring up is that I don't know if you all know, but it is dehydrated pineapple ring day. National
You got a big
dehydrated
pile
pineapple.
over there, buddy.
I got a big pile, and I meant to eat them, but I've been talking too much because my agent told me I have to on this show.
Right.
But if you're on the video, you can see this. If you're on the podcast, you can't. But I'm holding up a delicious dehydrated pineapple ring in honor of National Dehydrated Pineapple Day.
Actionable bite right there to manage.
It's actually
chaos
it's a literal actionable bite. You can just bite into a dehydrated onion or pineapple.
Dehydrated onion. That'd be interesting.
That's not going to work. But anyway, it's not actually any national day of any sort. So sorry.
Are you serious? I was totally buying that.
No,
from it.
It's not.
Okay, no, I'm not going to eat one. I'm not going to eat one.
We have them in our snack cabinet at Classy Llama, so I just love them.
Yeah, I like to raid the snack cabinet.
Anyway, what are we talking about today?
So we're talking about how to manage chaos, which chaos can creep in.
Every once in a while.
You got to focus. You got to get back to it.
Especially when you have me around. Are we at the end of the beginning of the show?
We're at the end of the show. So now is the time for actionable bites. We've covered several of them. What say you, Kurt? Actionable bite.
I have to actually go back to what we were just talking about because I think it's probably the smartest thing we've said all year. And that is, in the midst of chaos, find solitude and silence and peace internally and externally. And that's where you actually find the necessary direction and tools and resources and whatever else to face the chaos and turn it into order.
Something we're missing in our culture. It's not talked about. It's not touted. We're
just
go
busy. That's what everyone needs to be.
I feel like I'm not being productive. I'm not crazy busy, but
yeah,
sometimes the reverse is
I think
true.
that honestly, I mean, the other things, if you can do that, I think the other things, we're talking focus, we're talking about conquering fear, I don't remember the first thing we talked about is, but
talking about embracing the tension.
Oh yeah.
So solitude allows you to do that. You can live in it.
If you do that one thing, I think it creates the opportunity for you to face the other things really well. So that's my only actionable bite to leave people with.
I love it.
If you're facing chaos in your business, find some peace, find some space to be in solitude and silence and peace. And I think you will gain a lot from it.
Here's what I'm going to do, Kurt, because you really are responsible for coming up with this topic inadvertently and everything.
Mayhem.
Really. Mayhem, all of that good stuff. Creating this experience of chaos on the show, which is awesome. I think you get out. I think today you get out. So
guys, this is amazing. Thank you very much. I am very proud. I'd like to thank my fans.
Your mom?
Out there.
Your fans, yes.
Yeah, sure. My mom as well. She was part of making me who I am. And I'm going to put this on my bookcase where it belongs because that's where it lives all the time. So
managing chaos. I like this.
I think this is mainly about, I think this actually is like some sort of inner story about how this show actually works where everyone tries to manage me. But anyway.
Yes. We've gotten good at managing chaos around here.
To say.
That's awesome.
Alexa, play Age of Ads.
No, I finally got this inner peace, and now
there it is. See, this is chaos, folks. This is the worst.
But can you find your peace in the midst of this chaos?
I feel like I'm in a tornado. I feel like a hurricane is in my brain. Okay, Alexa, stop. All right, folks. This has been the Llama Commerce Show. Really glad that you joined us. You're probably not so glad, but I'm happy that you did. And we're going to talk about. We're actually going to interview.
We've got a series of merchants we're going to interview here over the next several weeks.
That was the pun or whatever you call that.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. So tune in. Going to be awesome as always. Give us your feedback. We'd love to know what you're hearing, thinking, and what you want to see more of, less of on this show.
We have like actual e-commerce merchants coming up on the show.
We have actual e-commerce.
We're not just
going
to talk like idiots on the show.
We're going to have real live business owners on this show. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing.
So with that, we would like to say,
stay classy.
Stay classy.
Alexa, play Age of Ads. Quick, before he stops.